Hi, this is a video looking at the impressions question for the Eduqas Paper 1 reading exam. So impressions is normally question 2 in the exam for 5 marks, and it means the opinion you might have of a place or person when you've read what is said about them. So you have to give quotes to back it up. So a really simple example would be, what impression did you get of Chief Wiggum with the quote, "He was full of courage in the most dangerous situations." So one adjective you might use might be brave, and you would put that into an answer like this. One impression I get of Wiggum is he's very brave, as he's full of courage in the most dangerous situations. So I've got the question, which is impression. I've got my opinion, adjective, impression, and then I've got the quote to back it up. I wouldn't get a mark for just saying he's brave. I need the quote to get the mark. So this question is only worth 5 marks if it's on question 2, so it should be about 8 minutes, and you're going to aim for 5 separate impressions with 5 separate quotations to back up their opinion. And it's asking what impression is created of something or someone and how the writer creates these impressions. So like I say, 5 separate impressions, and this is the structure you're going for. Adjective quotation. So for example, I get the impression the character is shy. That's my adjective. When it says she slunk back into the shadows, try not to be seen. That's my quote. I get the impression the character is tired. That's my adjective. When it says he couldn't go 30 seconds without yawning loudly. So adjective and quote. So one I did in my lesson was an extract from a 1960s book and film called Psycho. It's a famous book and film about a killer called Norman Bates. And the extract, the question was, what impression do you have of Norman? And this was one of the quotes. "What a weird young man. She fought like a little boy." So you get 2 impressions there. So again, we're going to use the adjective quotation structure. So I get the impression that Norman is unconventional or strange when it says "what a weird young man." So again, be that human dictionary thesaurus. What does weird mean? It means unconventional or strange. And then she also says he's like a little boy. So again, what would you think that would be like? So you could have childlike or immature. That's the one I've gone for. So again, my adjective is immature. My quote is when he says he was like a little boy. And a lot of people say, how do I get 5 and 8 minutes? And maybe the way to do it is maybe have 1 or 2, or at least 1, where if the quote is really obvious, there's no need to explain it, just embed it into your sentence. So if it was the same question and my quote was Norman was happy all the time, I can literally put one impression I have of Norman is that he was happy all the time. I'm not going to be able to do that for all 5, but for at least 1 or 2, I can do that, and I will get a mark just the same as the other answers. Okay, so the bigger extract we're looking at now, slightly bigger, is what impressions do you get of Marianne at school? This is from a book in the series called Normal People. So I'll read it through. Maybe you can come up with some impressions. Marianne had been the top of the class since year 7. She exercises an open contempt for people in school. She has no friends and spends her lunchtimes alone reading novels. A lot of people really hate her. Her father died when she was 13, and Connell has heard that she has a mental illness now or something. It's true she is the smartest person in school. Connell dreads being left alone with her, but he also finds himself fantasising about things he could say to impress her. Last year, Marianne had a row with the history teacher, Mr. Kerrigan, because he caught her looking out of a window during class, and no one in the class took her side. It seemed so obviously insane to her that she would have to dress up in a costume every morning and be herded around a huge building all day, and she wasn't even allowed to move her eyes where she wanted. Even her eye movements fell under the jurisdiction of school rules. "You're not learning if you're staring out the window daydreaming," Kerrigan said. Marianne, who had lost her temper by then, snapped back, "Don't delude yourself, I have nothing to learn from you." Okay, so see if you can come up with 5 impressions. Again, we're going for the structure of adjective quotation. So look at the phrase, look at the sentences, but look at the words that have been used. So towards the bottom, she doesn't just reply, she snaps back. Okay, and then I'll go through the answers that I've got. Here are some quotes that I picked up. So again, maybe you can spend a few seconds thinking about what opinions. So I put, one impression I get of Marianne at school is she's very intelligent. As it says, she's been on top of the class since year 7. I think she really dislikes her classmates, as it says she exercises an open contempt for them. I think she must be very isolated when it says she has no friends and spends her lunchtime alone reading novels. And one impression I get of Marianne is she was very angry at Mr. Kerrigan. It says she lost her temper and snapped back. So again, I want 5 impressions. I've just put 4 there. This video is maybe for students looking for a grade 4 to 6. If you were maybe looking for the higher grades, you maybe comment on the language techniques used. But all of these are simple descriptions, simple impressions, backed up with a quote. All of these would get mark. Again, don't just put a 1-word quote, give context to the clip. So copying out a quote, which is a sentence, is absolutely fine. Okay, so same again, we're going to do a different one, same book, same series. What impression did you get of Connell this time in this extract? He lives in a terraced house with pebble-dashed walls, net curtains and a tiny concrete yard. The Waldrons are notorious in Carrickley. One of Connell's mum's brothers was in a prison once, and of course his mum got pregnant at 17 and left school to have the baby. Nonetheless, Connell was considered quite a catch these days. He's studious, he plays centre forward in football, he's good looking, he doesn't get into fights, everybody likes him. He's quiet, even Marianne's mum will say approvingly, that boy is nothing like a Waldron. So again, pause the video, or if you want to pause the video here where I've highlighted a few maybe you can talk about. Again, this is a very small extract, so I would say you're looking for, in the real exam you're looking for 5, but in this one, just see if you can pick out 3 or 4 things. Okay, so I've put one impression I have of Connell is that maybe his family don't have a lot of money. The word is repeated, the word tiny is used twice to describe where he lives. I think his family have a bad reputation as described as notorious. Basically, notorious means you're sort of famous or well known, but maybe for a negative reason. Again, this is like a really simple one. I think he is physically attractive, as he described as good looking and a catch. And I've put, I think he's intelligent and a hard worker at school. As he said, he's studious. Again, studious means someone who studies or likes to study or good at studying. Okay, so again, all of these in blue, they're my descriptions, they're my adjectives, they're my impressions, and then I'm backing it up with a quote in yellow. Okay, here's another one, which is from an Eduqas exam. This time, I'm going to let you read it, and then I'm just going to put the answers up with not much commentary. The question is, what impressions do you get the writer create of the White Hart, which is a pub? So to just start one to get you going, it's described as being shabby. So again, one impression I get is it's in poor condition, or run down when it says it's grown shabby. So pause the video and maybe see if you can write 4 or 5 answers. And like I said, I'm not going to go through the answers on the next slide. I'm just going to put the answers up. Hopefully this has been some use to you, and good luck in your exams.